Joining us now with breaking analysis is host of the Michael Savage podcast and author of the book Our Fight for America, Michael Savage. Michael, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Now, this speech was set on a dark red backdrop with a pair of Marines behind him, where he ripped into so-called dangerous Republicans. And, you know, we've seen these images before in movies, right? It's very theatrical. Star Wars, V for Vendetta, Scar from Lion King. What do you make of the theatrical visuals on this?
Thanks for having me. First of all, they ruined themselves, not their enemy. Supreme Ruler Biden's words were meant to muzzle all opposition, intimidate us. First, they masked us with the pandemic. Now with the big lie that those of us who oppose the naked destruction of our borders, our language, and our culture are terrorists. I believe that Biden should be impeached for this. Now, I know there's no chance of impeaching him, but an impeachment trial that went on for months would expose this man to the world for what he has done with his gang of Soviets. What they have done to this great nation in terms of crime, debt, inflation, the Afghanistan withdrawal, border destruction, the flow of drugs into this country from the southern border. However, I must say this, if I were advising Mr. Trump, and I am not, I would strongly advise against him attacking in kind. That's just what they want. They want him to one-up Biden and become more demonstrably dangerous in their minds. Instead, I would advise Mr. Trump to focus on the positive message for all Americans. We must protect our borders, our language, and our culture, and I would expand on that. And I would try to draw in all of America with a positive message rather than reacting to this psychopath who certainly was channeling dictatorships of the past. That's my opinion.
Dr. Savage, President Biden talks about how dangerous Republicans are, but check out Biden's past rhetoric here in a bite that's really come back to bite him. Listen to this.
The press always asks me, don't I wish I were debating him? No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym. That's what I wish.
They asked me, would I like to debate this gentleman? And I said, no. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
So, Michael, it's fine when he calls or a Democrat calls for violence. It seems like a double standard here. I also want to share this tweet from Jerry Callahan, a famous Boston talk radio host. He says this week, things Joe Biden has ordered or supported: raiding Trump's home, arresting Trump's lawyers, ordering Facebook to censor his critics, kicking unvaxxed soldiers and Marines out of the military as well as police forces, labeling parents as terrorists. Clearly, we must do something about those MAGA fascists. What say you, Mr. Savage?
Mike, Biden learned from dictatorships in the past that only with an external enemy do you find inner strength. This worked for old Adolf in Germany. It worked for Benito in Italy. It worked for Pol Pot. It works for all martinets like him. He's an embarrassment to the presidency. He is a danger to the democracy. And he is a clear and present danger, unlike those of us who support this nation. When he used the phrase, by the way, Mike, he used the phrase that we are a clear and present danger to the United States. Do people know where this came from? It's a legal doctrine created by the Woodrow Wilson era Supreme Court to curtail the free speech of Americans. It's a long story. And this related to an anti-war activist who was jailed for advocating draft resistance. And it went to the Supreme Court. And the great Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. said, no, the clear and present danger that is cited here does not apply in this case. They changed it to something else. And by the way, last point, it was changed in Brandenburg versus Ohio in 1969 that replaced clear and present danger to address only imminent lawless action, much different than the broad brush that Biden used to paint all of us who voted for Donald Trump. And again, this is the most dangerous speech I have ever heard, and I've been studying presidents going back a very long way. The man should be impeached for what he did, because what he did, Mike, was paint the target on the back of anyone who has not just a MAGA hat, anyone who has a Republican bumper sticker on their car can now be freely attacked by Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and the other street thugs that work for the Democrat National Committee.
Dr. Michael Savage, it'll be interesting to see what brush Donald Trump paints with tonight. We appreciate your time tonight. Thanks for joining us.